All right. So we are live here for Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals. Game 3. Here we go. The score is 31-26 Phoenix on top. 31-26 Clippers on top, excuse me. We're here in Game 3 at Staples Center, the Western Conference Finals between the Suns and Clippers. There's Booker who takes a shot, he misses. And here comes Rondo. Rondo being guarded by Craig. Rondo! Craig throws it out of bounds. Still will be Clipper ball. 31-26 LA. 9 minutes to go here in the second quarter. In Staples Center. This is going to be a good one. Phoenix currently leads the series 2-0. And it's 31-26 Clippers, under 9 to go here in the second quarter of Game 3. As Morris, there's a foul called on Marcus Morris. It's going back the other way. It's going to be a good one here tonight. If you don't know, Chris Paul just returned from the health and safety protocols. Just today, he was reinstated, and he is active, and he has been playing pretty solid so far. Obviously, Devin Booker hasn't done too much yet. Only 3 points for Booker. As Cam Johnson puts a floater. That's good. Cam Johnson puts it back to 3. 8.5 to go here. Chris Paul currently has no points, but he has 4 assists. As he got something going on over here, the officials trying to sort things out over here. 31-28 LA. As you see, Kennard getting it back, but it was, I think, a backcourt violation. Never mind, it's still Clipper ball. And here's Reggie Jackson, fakes it inside. Batum! Reverse layup is good. And the Clippers go back up by 5. As we have another whistle here. Looks to be on Batum, the foul. As it's going back the other way. Kind of interesting. Yeah, they called a foul on Batum right there. Now, Chris Paul is shooting a technical free throw here. As Batum continues to complain, Chris Paul hits that first one. That's his first points of the game at the technical free throw there. Not really sure what happened here as the Batum pushes Chris Paul and then they called a foul there, I guess. I mean, that's not a lot right there. Not really sure what went on right there. As there are 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. LA up by 4. Chris Paul tries a 3-pointer. That won't go. And Marcus Morris comes up with it. Torrey Craig is in the game for these Suns. As you have Reggie Jackson and Rondo, the starting backcourt for this Clipper team to start Game 3. It's not Rondo, excuse me. As that is stolen. Pass intended for Batum. And here's Cam Johnson. And there's Torrey Craig. He puts it up and in off the glass. And it is back to 2. This is a very legendary. I've been doing live streams, man. Thanks for joining. It's still a good one. We got a tight 2-point game here between the Clippers and Suns. 33-31 LA. As here's Morris spins. Morris lays up a floater. That won't go. And Dario Saric gets the board on Chris Paul up the court. If you remember, Chris Paul missed the first 2 games of this series. He was on the health and safety protocols. He contracted COVID. As Cam Johnson, nice reverse layup, and he ties it. It's 33 all here in the second. Under 7 to go here in the second quarter. Phoenix is wearing those beautiful orange jerseys, excuse me. I love these orange jerseys that the Phoenix Suns are wearing right now. Clippers in all black at Staples. As Reggie Jackson is being doubled, trying to navigate around. Shot clock is down to 2. Reggie Jackson, corner 3 ball. That's a rainbow. That won't go. Yeah, that's my dream, to be an announcer. So that's definitely what my goal is. And just doing play-by-play here is really fun. Hope you're enjoying. And here's Chris Paul. Sarge sets a screen. Chris Paul being guarded by Kennard. Kennard playing some really up-close defense here. Chris Paul open for 3. Tries it at the buzzer. That won't go. And nice offensive rebound there, but not. Mikal Bridges gives it back to Cam Johnson. And here's Bridges. Bridges to drive. Puts it back. Mid-range jumper. That's smooth. Mikal Bridges and the Suns have taken the lead. 35-33 Phoenix. Timeout LA. Phoenix all of a sudden has come out here and taken the lead. And this is with Devin Booker on that bench right there. Huge for the Suns team. Devin Booker's only scored 3 points. Doesn't matter. Suns on top. Chris Paul leading the charge here. I have got the Phoenix Suns winning this series in 6 games. I made a video on that. If you haven't checked that out, you should. I made a preview and prediction of the Western Finals. And I said Suns in 6. And I'm still sticking with that right now. I think Clippers definitely might take a couple, and the Suns should be able to finish it. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, Chris Paul coming back, that really changes a lot of what's going on right now. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, we got a timeout here on the floor by the Clippers, 35-33 Suns at the moment. So who do you guys think is going to win the series? I mean, I think the Suns are pretty much the favorites, especially getting Chris Paul back for Game 3. I mean, no Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi was ruled out for Game 3 today. So, I mean, it's not really looking too good for the Clippers right now, honestly. The Suns are really in control of things right now. But it's going to be a good one here. Got under 6 minutes to go here in this second quarter. Phoenix on top, 35-33. Leading scorer for the Suns is DeAndre Ayton with 10 points. If you remember, DeAndre Ayton had 22 points in Game 2, including the go-ahead game-winning dunk on a masterpiece play by Monty Williams, the head coach of the Suns. Jay Crowder with a perfect pass. DeAndre Ayton threw it down with 0.7 left on the clock, and the Suns get a huge win in Game 2, and they hold on there, and that's why they're in control right now. Ayton has really done well in the pick and roll with Booker and Chris Paul. Really dominated inside, which is what he needed to do against, this kind of small ball lineup that the Clippers have been doing. Clippers just changed that small ball lineup as Zubac is in the starting lineup today for Game 3. Normally Zubac comes off the bench, and you also have Patrick Beverley in the starting lineup in place of Marcus Morris, who's been dealing with an injury. As we are back Here's Reggie Jackson. Gives it back to Paul George. Paul George is checked back into the game. Paul George smooth drives to the bucket. High off glass one goes Zubac. Nice play, crashing the boards, puts it back up and in. And the Clippers come out of the timeout. Tied it up. Jay Crowder is in the game, as well as Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, and Mikal Bridges for the Suns. Nice pass from Chris Paul. Crowder in the corner, three-pointer. And here's Reggie Jackson. Comes the other way. Reggie Jackson's been really important for this Clippers team as Jay Crowder throws that out, but it's going to be a foul on Jay Crowder there. DeAndre Ayton has really stepped up in these playoffs, averaging about 16 points per game. And he's been so great. You know, that number 1 overall pick in 2018 for the Phoenix Suns has really lived up to that, as Reggie Jackson misses a free throw there. You know, Reggie Jackson's been shooting really out of his mind and has scored 8 points tonight for the Clippers. He's been shooting really good from the free throw line, Reggie Jackson, currently in the postseason, 93% from the free throw line. So that really is a shock that he missed the free throw there. I mean, you can keep talking about that DeAndre Ayton game winner. It is just unbelievable. I mean, you can get so many shots of that play. I mean, Ayton running over to the basket full speed. Then he jumps up and throws it down. Jay Crowder, give credit to him. That was an absolute beauty of a pass right there in that game winner 2 nights ago in Phoenix. That was just amazing. As Jay Crowder has been asking for a timeout, and Patrick Beverley is now all of a sudden complaining. Patrick Beverley has been in the starting lineup today for the Clippers. He's done, pretty well in this series, I would say, really making an impact with his scrappy defense and his hustle. Yeah, see, Chris Paul didn't even touch the basketball and the clock started. Either way, under 5 to go here in the second quarter, 36-35 LA. And here's Chris Paul, and he loses it, but he draws the foul. Yeah, that's a foul. As Chris Paul's driving, Reggie Jackson on his behind, Terrence Mann over there, and that's a foul. As Chris Paul hits the first free throw, Chris Paul has been really unbelievable from the free throw line, obviously. He's so great at the free throw line, Chris Paul. We all know that. As he's getting his first couple of points of the game. But he has 6 assists. That's what Chris Paul does well. And the Suns are back on top. 2 made free throws there. As you have Zubac, Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, Pat Bev, and Paul George in the game here. For the Clippers, shot clock is down to 4. Here's Terrence Mann. Kicks it out. Beverley tries a 3-pointer. And we have a rebound there by Chris Paul. Gives it head. There's Devin Booker wearing that mask today. He broke his nose in game 2. Booker on a screen and run. Kicks it out. Crowder a 3-pointer. And up ahead, Terrence Mann pulls it back. Finds Reggie Jackson. And pick and roll with Zubac. Reggie Jackson over. That won't go. And Jay Crowder comes up with it. Nobody's made a couple of baskets here recently. As here's Chris Paul navigating through traffic, pulls up mid-range jumper, nails it. CP3, that's his go-to shot right there. Chris Paul's signature, 39-36, Phoenix. On 3.5 to go here in this second quarter, Paul George pulls up. His mid-range jumper is true. Paul George and Chris Paul, 2 great mid-range shooters. Chris Paul, that's his signature shot there. We all know that. As the Suns are up by 1 here. 39-38. And here's Booker driving. Booker is fouled from behind by Patrick Beverley. That's number 1 on Patrick Beverley tonight. We also have 2 fouls on Reggie Jackson and Terrence Mann, by the way. And that's pretty much it for the Clippers team, personal fouls wise. And for the Suns, Crowder has 2, Bridges has 2, and Ayton has 2. This backcourt for the Suns, it's been incredible, but only 9 combined points so far. And we are, well into this game. 21 minutes into this game so far, as Booker hits both of those shots. 41-38 Suns. 3 minutes to go here in this first half. Clippers have been in lead majority of the time. The Suns are just getting back. Zubaka! Watch out! Zubac with an epic throwdown there on a run. And that gets the crowd going. (41-40) Clippers. Clippers have shot a lot of free throws at the line. Chris Paul, another mid-range jumper over Zubac. That time it won't go. And here's Paul George. Booker guarding George. Booker drives, puts it up, puts it in. Paul George. 42-41 Clippers. They've taken the lead right back. And it's because of Paul George. That's George's 9th point of the game. But Zubac is the leading scorer for the Clippers with 11. And Chris Paul is really running this offense right now, being guarded by Patrick Beverley. As Ayton sets the screen, gets around it, finds an open Mikal Bridges. Bridges gets the back out. Chris Paul, mid-range jumper, and he nails it. CP3, that's an open jump shot, and that's good every time. Back and forth we go here in the last 2 minutes of this first half. Chris Paul and Paul George. Packed house in Staples Center tonight. Must win here for the LA Clippers. They're going to have any chance to win this conference finals. Paul George step back 3-pointer short. Zubac inside. He gets that rebound. What a first half for Zubac. Paul George, another mid-range jumper. That's short again. Paul George, really rough start shooting-wise in this first half. He's 4 out of 12 from the field. Approaching 1:20 to go in the second quarter. Phoenix up by 1. Here's Chris Paul going around the screen. Chris Paul is blocked by Zubac. Paul kicks it out. Here's Bridges, a 3-pointer, lines it up, hits it. Mikal Bridges from the corner, and it's a 4-point lead for Phoenix. 46-42. Under a minute to go here in this first half. Reggie Jackson has 9 points tonight. Going around, navigating. Good defense by Jay Crowder. Shot clock is down to 3. Paul George driving. Paul George attacks Patrick Beverley. That's a 24-second violation. Great defense there by Phoenix to lock down the Clippers on that possession. Paul George unable to find anybody before it was too late. 46 seconds left here. Phoenix has possession as Luke Kennard is checked back into the game. Luke Kennard, a great shooter for this team, has made a lot of clutch buckets for them. As take a look at Zubac having a field night already, but Chris Paul gets it back, and he kicks it out to Bridges for another assist for Chris Paul. That was Chris Paul's 7th assist. He also has 2 steals. As Batum is back in for the Clippers. And here is Booker. Booker, mid-range jumper. That's good! Devin Booker. And it's up to 6 now for the Suns. 48-42. Phoenix just keeps increasing their lead there on a 7-0 run as Paul George is fouled, and he's going to head to the free throw line. That's number 3 on Jay Crowder. Personal fouls, 3 for Crowder. In the second quarter, the Suns are really dominating, plus 14 right now, as they have a 6-point lead going 33 seconds left before halftime. Clippers did well in that first quarter, plus 8, 29-21 Clippers in that first. It's been 27-13 Suns in the second. Paul George really struggling from the free throw line. This series had 2 really big misses there, and he misses one right here. The free throw line just not really doing any favors for Paul George right now. Surprise, really, for Paul George, struggling from this free throw line. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. In this versus the Phoenix, he's only shooting 80% as he makes that one, as one more left as was fouled on a three-pointer. He missed two big ones at 8.2 left in game 2. A big reason why they lost game 2 in Phoenix and are now down 2-0. Paul George knows that, and he's going to step up. As he hits 2 out of 3 there at that trip, puts it back to 4, 48-44. Suns. As they're not going for the 2-for-1 here, Chris Paul gonna let the clock go all the way down. So you have Cam Johnson. Kennard switches to Chris Paul. Shot clock is down to 4. Here's Paul dancing, kicks it out. Cam Johnson three-pointer. That was blocked by Batum. That comes up short. Paul George. Clippers have the last possession. Here he is driving, attacking. He throws it down. Paul George gets the crowd going. That's the old Paul George we used to see. 2.9 left in the second quarter. And Chris Paul, and that will do it. Booker fires a long-range missile. And that is the half. He got a good one here. It's a 2-point game at the half, 48-46. Suns on top here, halfway home in this game 3. Big one for this Clippers team to stay alive in the Western Conference Finals. Paul George trying to make sure of that tonight. As we are in halftime at LA in Staples Center. Phoenix 48, Clippers 46. Hope you've enjoyed the stream so far. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that. I got you covered for the NBA. All right, so the halftime report here in Game 3 between the Clippers, the LA Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns for a right to play in the NBA Finals. We have Game 3 here in Staples Center at LA. It's a big one for the Clippers to stay alive in the Western Conference Finals and try and make their first ever finals. It's a big one here. The Clippers, we know they've been down 2-0 throughout these playoffs. In round 1 versus the Mavericks, came back and won that in 7. In round 2 versus the Jazz, Jazz number 1 seed, by the way, they came back and won that 4 straight games, won it in 6. And here they are down 2-0 against the Suns in their first ever Western Conference Finals. And the Clippers know how to come back from this kind of deficit. But either way, let's get into that first half. The Suns are up 48-46 at the moment here at halftime. It was a great start for the Suns, for the Clippers here at home, 29-21 outscoring the Suns in that first quarter. It was a hot start from Zubac, the center, who's now in the starting lineup. We also had Patrick Beverley put into the starting lineup for these Clippers as Marcus Morris is dealing with an injury. Zubac had a hot start. He now has 11 points and has done really well as a starter for this team, dominating inside and grabbing 12 boards so far, making his presence felt in the paint, especially on the offensive end, and getting a block. And then Patrick Beverley played some really great defense in that first quarter, being scrappy, getting his hands all over the place. He's done well. And then the Clippers are up by 8, and then the Suns had an answer, like they always have done throughout these playoffs, taking that second quarter by 10, 27-17. It was really Chris Paul who took it into his own hands, dishing out 8 assists and put on 7 points for the Suns team. Even though this backcourt for the Suns hasn't really produced much, only 7 points. 14 points combined for this backcourt between Booker and Paul. They're both shooting 20% from the field. It doesn't matter because DeAndre Ayton was really doing a great job in that first and early second quarter to keep the Suns in it inside the paint, using his floaters and layups and a couple of dunks here and there. And DeAndre Ayton has 10 points and is the leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns with 6 rebounds as well. Chris Paul did a great job shooting those mid-range jumpers, finally got into a rhythm. He has 7 points. And then Devin Booker hasn't had a great start in LA today after 40-point triple-double in game 1. DeAndre Ayton's been really carrying this team so far, and Chris Paul was running that offense late while Booker was on the bench. Jay Crowder's been pretty good on that defensive end, but he has 3 fouls. And that's really been the ball game so far. Phoenix Suns have done a great job scoring-wise, offensively, have really locked down late defensively on the defensive end, which is why they're up by 2 and have consistently made those buckets. Chris Paul doing a great job as that offensive leader right now. Bench-wise, for the Suns, Cam Johnson, he has 7 points, has done pretty good. Cam Payne has 2 points. He was in the starting lineup while Chris Paul was out, back on the bench. And for the Clippers, Nick Batum has 4 points. He's a bench player now after being in the starting lineup as a small ball center. And Marcus Morris has 2, and Luke Kennard also has 2 points. Scoring-wise, the Clippers have done well with their main stars. Paul George is 13 points, but he's shooting 1 out of 6 from 3 right now, which is not really too great. He's kind of struggling in that department. But the Clippers are doing more or less okay offensively, really kind of struggled in that second quarter. Played really good defense early on, but the Suns heated up. But Paul George late kept a minute, and it's going to be a great second half here. I'm looking at the Suns, looking at DeAndre Ayton continuing his dominance inside the paint, really. And then Chris Paul heating it up late. Can he continue it? And can Devin Booker really find his groove? He's a shooting guard for the Suns. They're only up by 2, and he's only scored 7 points, which tells you that the Suns really could be up by much more right now, and the Clippers better watch out in this third quarter. They only have 2 quarters left to keep their, honestly, I'm just gonna be speaking facts here. I'm not gonna hide it here. They have 2 quarters to really keep themselves alive right now, because we know if they go down 3-0, nobody's ever come back from that. They're not going to come back from that without Kawhi Leonard, and that's really the ball game. They have to get it done in the second half, and that starts with playing some better defense on Chris Paul. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I appreciate it for joining. Thanks a lot. Suns are up by 2 at the half. But that's really it. The Clippers really need to start shooting better in that second half here. They're only shooting 17% from 3-point land. If they're going to win this game, the Clippers have got to start shooting well, at least better, from 3-point land, if they're going to have any chance in this game to win it. They're not really shooting too great, but they're getting a lot of rebounds, and they're just in it right now, which is good for them. Zubac has really made a big impact right now. But the Suns just got to continue that momentum from that second quarter, playing that strong up to your face defense and keeping DeAndre Ayton involved with Chris Paul and get Booker hot. And that's really all the Suns have to do. And Paul George really needs to continue to show up. He did in that second quarter. He has 13 points to lead the Clippers in scoring. So that's pretty much the first half. Right now, it's really looking like the Suns are going to win this game 3 as well. So we'll really see what happens here. It's going to be a tight finish, so I'd definitely stick around if I were you here. It's going to be close. And we'll be back for this second half here shortly, soon. Stick around, guys. You should hit the like if you haven't, and subscribe already. And we are back for the second half here in Staples Center at LA. Phoenix leads the series 2-0 in the game 3 of the Western Conference Finals, as we have Terrence Mann driving. Puts it up, back floater. Look at that shot, mid-range fadeaway jumper. That's good. And the Clippers have come out and tied this game. 48-48 here. Just underway here in this second quarter. And in the second half, excuse me. As you have the starting lineups in for both teams, as DeAndre Ayton inside, being guarded by Zubac. That's been a big matchup so far. As Booker navigating Booker and gets it off in time! Right at the buzzer, Booker. When the shot clock expires, that's a beautiful jumper there. As you have Terrence Mann attacking. Is it going to be another magical night for him? We will see as Reggie Jackson tries a rainbow three-pointer. That one won't go. Mikal Bridges gets that rebound. Up ahead. Here is Bridges. Bridges on the drive. Ayton gonna try his jump shot. How about that? DeAndre Ayton with a jump shot. It's back up to 4. The lead for Phoenix. Hey, how are you doing? Appreciate you joining now. It's gonna be a good second half. Paul George mid-range jumper. Nails it. Paul George. That's his 15th point of the game right there. Phoenix is up by 2, 52-50. As here is Bridges outside. Bridges. Count it! And 1! Mikal Bridges led to the line for the free throw to make it a 3-point play. Draws the foul. Puts his mid-range jumper up and in. And he's going to head to the line for another free throw here. As that's a foul on Reggie Jackson there. Nice. That's great. What's the video about, by the way? Just asking. As Bridges makes that one. Oh, I see. All right. Should be a good one. I'll check it out. As we have Terrence Mann here. As here's Mann. Puts it up and in inside. Terrence Mann looks to be heating up here in this third quarter. As look at that defense by Pat Bev. As Booker on the drive. Booker finds Ayton behind him. Ayton mid-range jumper. That time it won't go. Ayton was feeling himself there. He has 12. As look at Terrence Mann running his offense. Mann! Coast to coast, high off the glass. And that gets the crowd going. Look at Terrence Mann. Is he being reborn again? He now has 8 points in this ballgame. Terrence Mann. Suns still lead by 1. 55-54. Chris Paul finds Crowder. Crowder top of the key. Crowder on the drive. Pulls back mid-range jumper. Short. Yeah, I'm doing good today. What's up, my guy? Hope you're doing good. Phoenix is up by 1 here. Half possession. Nine minutes to go here in this third quarter. Chris Paul mid-range jumper. That's short as well. Paul George comes up with it. Up ahead. Zubac. Oh, he was going to throw it down. Terrence Mann comes up with it. He puts it in. We have a timeout. Look at Terrence Mann getting this crowd going. Clippers have their first lead after some time. It's 53-56 Clippers. Zubac's trying to go for an absolute killer there. Terrence Mann comes up with a handy rebound, and he puts it up. Clippers are still in this. Terrence Mann really feeling himself right now. 10 points for Mann. Clippers have the lead. 56-55. Oh, they changed it. They just changed the score to 56-53, actually. They took a couple of points away from the Suns right there. But either way, look, I told you the Clippers are coming out, and they came out with a statement here already. So now they're leading this ballgame right now. It's going to be a big battle here. I mean, the Clippers know that this is the game if they're going to have any chance to do it. They know it better than anybody right now. They've already been down 2-0, 2 times already. I mean, this is the moment for them, and they've come out here. And who better to energize the crowd than Terrence Mann, honestly? Remember, Terrence Mann had that coming out game 6 against Utah. It was an incredible performance from Terrence Mann, who had 40-something points in that game. He had over 40 points in that game 6. And he's getting that crowd going now into double-digit points at 10. Paul George leading the way at 15. Mikal Bridges has done pretty good so far in this game for the Suns. He has 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's done pretty much everything so far for them, including some really, really important buckets here when the offense wasn't really getting going for anybody else. Who you got winning this game? I think, it's really looking like the Suns are going to win. Now the Clippers have come back. I mean, in my video that I made about the Western Conference Finals prediction, I had the Suns winning in 6 games. But, Chris Paul's come back in maybe less than that, honestly. As they changed that Booker jumper to start this third quarter, they didn't count it as the shot clock expired before Booker got it off, which is why they removed those 2 points from the Suns, and which is why they're down by 3 all of a sudden. As here we go. Chris Paul being guarded by Terrence Mann. Phoenix has got to weather the storm here, set by the Clippers early so far in this third. Whoa, look at that pass to DeAndre Ayton. Bridges for 3 in the corner. That one go. Ayton inside. He couldn't come up with it. But it is still Clipper ball now. DeAndre Ayton couldn't come up with it inside, as Crowder tried to throw it up to Ayton like game 2 nights ago. As you have Terrence Mann here who's really taking control of this game all of a sudden. As Reggie Jackson is there. Reggie Jackson throws it up too high for Terrence Mann. Man, if Terrence Mann was a couple of inches taller, he could have caught that and thrown it down. Reggie Jackson, a little too high of a pass right there. As Phoenix is really cashing off those turnovers by the Clippers, as there was another one there. Throws it up. Chris Paul threw it up. That wasn't there. Patrick Beverley comes up with it. Here's Paul George. Reggie Jackson. He fakes. Goes around. Floater. That's good. Reggie Jackson. And the lead goes back up to 5 for this Clipper team. How about this in the early third quarter here? As we have Booker who loses the ball. Look at Patrick Beverley making those hustle plays defensively. That's why he's in the starting lineup tonight. It was a great move by Ty Lue, the head coach of the Clippers. He's done really, really well coaching this team in this playoffs. Reggie Jackson, that's his floater, and that goes. He has 11 points. You have 4 people in double digits for the Clippers, all in the starting lineup as Reggie Jackson navigates. Finds Patrick Beverley. And here is Jackson being guarded by Chris Paul. Jackson with the crossover. He drives. Puts it up. Wow! Puts it in! Reggie Jackson! An absolute incredible shot there. Lays it up and in. And the lead is ballooned to 7 all of a sudden for the Clippers. 60-53. Chris Paul. And here's Ayton being guarded by Zubac. So 2 big men going at it. And here's Chris Paul. Shot clock is down to 4. Paul, shoot a three-pointer. That's good. Chris Paul, much needed three-pointer. And it's 60 to 56. LA. How about that clutch shot from Chris Paul? Much, much needed for the Suns right now. You know, I just had a feeling that Chris Paul was going to make it. You know, that's just how good Chris Paul is. He has such a big clutch gene, and I knew Chris Paul was going to make that shot. As Zubac right there setting a hard screen on Booker. It was a foul there. As here's Paul George being guarded by Crowder. George putting on some moves. George with the drive. George with the finish! Paul George with the flex there. And the lead is back up to 6 for the Clippers. Approaching halfway here to go in this third quarter. 62 to 56 LA. As here's kicks it out. Bridges in the corner. Navigates. Can't find anybody. Aiden, another jump shot. That's too strong. And it is Paul George who comes up with the rebound. The momentum has gone haywire towards the Clippers. Here's Jackson on a drive, and he's tripped up. And that's a foul. That's another one on Booker. That's going to be his third foul on Booker. That's 3 for Devin Booker already. Not having a good game by any standard. Only 7 points for Booker. 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 out of 11 for the field. 1 out of 4 from 3. And he's minus 12 and plus minus Devin Booker. Not having a good game and is arguing with the officials right now. Wearing that face mask today because he broke his nose in game 2. As they call a double technical foul on Patrick Beverley and Devin Booker, as those two have been going at it throughout this series. 2 T's, one on Bev, one on Book. As we have exactly halfway here to go in this third quarter, Booker's going to go ahead and sit on the sideline. 4 fouls now for Booker. That's actually his 4th. He just picked up his 4th. I thought that was his 3rd. As here's Paul George trying to step back. Once again, good defense by Crowder. Here's Zubac! That's a two-handed jam! There's Steve Ballmer. He's happy with what he's seeing from his team. That's 8 for the Clippers now, the largest lead of the game for LA. They're up 64 to 56. Boy, how the tides have turned here in this third quarter. As you have Chris Paul here being guarded by Paul George. Aiden to the screen. Chris Paul, mid-range jumper. That won't go. Terrence Mann comes up with it. Mann hurrying down the other side. Mann lays it up. Tries to throw to Zubac, who comes up with it. He can't finish. And that's going to be a foul. Look at Zubac. And this Clippers team, they are playing physical right now. Big time. And they're up by 8 right now. Huge momentum swing in this third quarter. The Clippers have outscored the Suns by 10 in this third already, as Zubac is making his presence felt. Zubaca. As here's George going back to that two-handed jam by Zubac. This was a great move by Ty Lue to put him in the starting lineup, as he's going to head to the line. 2 free throws. Hits that first. Zubac now has 14 points. Incredible. It's been a physical game. It's been intense throughout. And it's now a 10-point lead. Double-digit lead has been opened up here by the Clippers. Look at this run. 16-3 here for the Clippers. Approaching 5 minutes to go. Here's Cam Johnson falls on the ground. Reggie Jackson goes on top. And that's going to be a jump ball here between Cam Johnson and Reggie Jackson. That's another great heads-up defensive play. Look at Chris Paul. And now Chris Paul and Paul George are talking. This tells you what kind of environment's going on here right now. It's big time right now in Staples. Showtime right now in the Western Conference Finals. This Clippers team, they're playing with hustle right now. It's just something you don't see from the Suns right now, surprisingly. As you have a jump ball here, and that's going to go to the Clippers and Zubac. As you have Paul George. Paul George! Nice play there by Chris Paul defensively, but it's still Clipper ball. Under 5 to go. Marcus Morris checks back in Checks back in for Patrick Beverly. Chris Paul really talking right now. Both teams really feeling the intensity right now. And this is what playoff basketball is all about. As Booker continues to look on the sideline. Reggie Jackson's going to inbound here. George for three! And bang! Wow! That's an absolute banger right there from the Clippers. I just couldn't stop myself from saying bang. I know Mike Breen is calling the game right now. But either way. As look at Chris Paul trying to navigate. Almost lost it. And Cam Johnson, he stepped out of bounds. That's another sloppy turnover. Look at the lead for the Clippers. It's now big time 13-point lead for the Clippers, 69-56. The lead just keeps going higher and higher here, and the Suns are really losing control of this ball game all of a sudden. Clippers are in the bonus for this final 4:34. Paul George hits a big three-pointer there, and he's feeling it. George is 20 points now, all of a sudden. Phoenix only shooting 30%. Paul George, another three-pointer that time. That was a heat check, probably. And here is Mikal Bridges. Look at, that's not Bridges. Never mind. There's Bridges. He gets it. And back out to Crowder. Shot clock is down to 3. It's down to 2. Down to 1. And that's a 24-second violation. As Paul George up ahead. Too strong for Terrence Mann. That's another turnover there by the Clippers. Both teams kind of turning this ball over here. But really, it's been 8 turnovers here for the Suns, 6 for the Clippers, plus 2 in turnovers for the Suns. As Booker, he's not having any good game at all right now. It's just really bad right now for him. As here is Booker. Booker trying to find somebody, and he tosses it away. That's another turnover. That's another on Booker. Paul George can't lay it up and in. Surprisingly, Mann inside. He finishes. Guess what? Terrence Mann is there to clean up your mess whenever you need it, and he flexes. Huge lead is opened up. It's 15 now for the Clippers. What has been going on here? Booker, a three-pointer. That really needed to go in. Zubac comes up with another rebound. Paul George leading his troops. Look at George driving. George, one foul there. Aiden comes up with it. Suns really need a bucket here to silence this crowd as Booker almost turns it over again. That's going to be a foul on Morris Sr. right there. It's only 2 on the Clippers so far. A long way to go before they're in the bonus, the Suns. 71-56 LA. This is incredible right now. George couldn't finish, but Terrence Mann really loving it at home. I think that's really where he gets that energy and motivation from. As the Clippers have been on a 21-3 run since 10 minutes to go in that third quarter. They've outscored the Suns 25-8 in this third quarter. It's unbelievable. Terrence Mann really taking charge with 10 points in this third quarter. The crowd is now involved again, and they can feel it right now. And here's Booker on the drive. Booker finally scores. That's a huge one there. Hasn't scored yet in the second half. There he is. Devin Booker with now 9 points in this game. The lead's cut down to 13. And here's Paul George being guarded by Torrey Craig. George, fadeaway jumper. That time it's short. And Sarge comes up with the rebound for the Suns. And here's Booker. Kicks it out. Here's Craig. Craig on the drive. Can't lay it up and in, but he's fouled. It's going to be on, I think, Morris Sr. again, as we have a timeout here on the floor. Big moments here for the Clippers. All of a sudden, they're well in control right now. Up by 13 points here. 71-58. Clippers have been doing great. All of a sudden, Their shots are going in. Their shots are going in. They're playing well offensively. They made some 3-pointers. They're drawing fouls heading to the line. And Paul George has really led the way with 20. And so has Terrence Mann with 12 in this third quarter. Zubac has made such a big difference. He has a double-double, 15 points, 13 rebounds. And the Clippers are in control right now. Currently in a commercial break here. Clippers are up by 13 now. As we are back in this third quarter. As Torrey Craig is at the line for some free throws here. Booker, he had 40 in game 1, 20 in game 2, now 9. It's just been going down and down for Booker in these conference finals. Torrey Craig, the former Nugget, hits 2 free throws there. And we start the second, almost approaching the end of this third quarter here. The lead is now cut to 11, 71-60 LA. As here is Paul George comes up short, and the Suns come up with the rebound there. Down by 11 are the Suns with 2 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Cam Johnson, open 3-pointer. Big shot there. And the Suns have come up. Quick 5-0 run here early. And 7-0 run in the last minute and a half. The lead is cut to 8, 71-63. Clippers. As that's a big 3-pointer. Nick Batum. Show the Frenchman some love there. And it's now 74-63. The lead back up to 11. As here is Sarge on the drive. Sarge can't lay it up. Wild attempt there. And here's George. George get a screen by Batum. Kicks it out. Nice ball movement. Here's Batum on the drive. Finds an open. Here's Paul George, a 3-pointer. That time it won't go. And nice rebound there by Sarge. Suns have to step up their defensive game right now. Haven't played well throughout this third quarter. Chris Paul has been sitting down. And here's Booker. Booker has to start taking over. He draws the foul there. Misses the attempt, but heads to line. 2 free throws here. This could change the game for Booker. Honestly, seeing that ball go through the basket here for 2 free throws. We'll see if Devin Booker can make these count here. He has 10 points. Booker has been shooting 93% in the playoffs, 83% versus the Clippers. Makes that first one, it's 10. Tomorrow, game 2 of the East Finals, Hawks and Suns. Hawks lead the series 1-0 as Booker makes both free throws. The lead is cut down under 10, 74-65 Clippers. Approaching a minute to go here in this third quarter. As here's George being doubled. Finds man. There's open three-pointer. Fakes it. Kennard. Good shooter, three-pointer. That won't go. He had open shot there. That's a big miss. And here's Booker. Set the screen by Sarge. Chris Paul back in the game. Chris Paul finds Booker. Booker, top of the key, deep three-pointer. Nope. And here's George once again. Another rebound. Bad turnover there. Booker on the receiving end. Here's Booker. Finds Cam Johnson. That's a spot three-pointer. Still won't go. These shots, not too great of a shooting night. Nice play there. Booker lays it up and in. That's hustle defense there from the Suns. And the lead all of a sudden is back to 7. 74-67. Look at the Suns making a run here late. This is what they needed to keep it a game going into the fourth quarter. Great hustle defensively. The Clippers have been showing that here in third. The Suns didn't do it until now, and the results are paying off. As here's Paul George, 2-second difference between shot and game. Paul George with the drive, finds open Kennard, three-pointer, corner three! You bet, Luke Kennard. 10-point lead now. And here's Cam Johnson on a run. Johnson, and he's fouled. Kennard fouls Johnson as he falls to the ground. That's a bad foul there from Kennard, as only 1.1 was left in the third quarter. This wasn't a good foul there. He's driving, drew the foul, and he's going to head to the line for 2 free throws. Cam Johnson off the bench has been pretty good today for them. Much needed scoring. Cam Johnson, he has 7 points, and that's really big difference here. Chance to make it 9 here with 2 free throws, Cam Johnson. And that one rattles in. Cam Johnson, the 11th overall pick in the 2019 draft. 26-year-old, 6'8", 210. Average about 10 points per game in the regular season, 7.5 points per game in the postseason. Shoots around 43% from 3, so he's a good shooter. And he makes both shots there to make it an 8-point game. And as George going to take the last shot, off glass! Wow! Paul George! That's a rainbow to end the third quarter! Oh! You gotta be kidding. Wow! Look at that deep shot. Right at half court. Look at that. He got it off in time. It's count. Off glass, Paul George. Incredible. Momentum here for the Clippers. Paul George kissing to the crowd. Oh, that's amazing. How about Paul George right there? Incredible. That was an incredible shot. And that ends the third quarter, 80-69 Clippers. Lead by 11 going into the fourth quarter here in Staples Center. The Clippers got to hold on for one more quarter. This has been such a fun game. You have to stick around for this fourth quarter, man. It's going to be epic. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. I'd really appreciate you hitting that like. And be sure to subscribe if you want to catch any more of these live streams. And I got you covered for NBA. Let's see if the Suns can make a comeback here. They haven't really had to face much, much adversity here. I mean, they haven't lost since game 3 against the Lakers in the first round. I mean, they haven't lost in such a long time. It's crazy, you know. I mean, they're on a 9-game win streak in these playoffs, and they haven't faced anything like this until now. I mean, they're down by 11 going into the fourth. Let's see how they can regroup, and rebound here. In the fourth quarter, they got outscored by 13 in that third quarter, 34-21. Devin Booker all of a sudden is now the leading scorer for the Suns at 13 points. Still 4 out of 15 from the field, Devin Booker. And for the Clippers, 4 out of 5 starters in double digits, and Paul George with a third quarter deep buzzer beater missile, and he hits it here in the end of this third quarter. What a game changer. He practiced this at halftime, and wow, that's a beauty right there. I mean, and he kisses to the crowd. I mean, that's really something right there, isn't it? Like I said, 4 out of 5 starters in double digits for the Clippers, 23 for Paul George, 13 for Jackson, 15 for Zubac, and 12 for Terrence Mann, and 5 points for Kennard, 5 points for Morris, and 4 points for Batum. So really, really spaced out. Everybody's really chipping in for the Clippers right now, and they've all of a sudden have started to make threes. That 3-point percentage has jumped up to 28%, and they're now shooting 45% from the field. Both teams have struggled from the 3-point line as well. The Suns have 9 turnovers compared to 7 for the Clippers. The largest lead for the Clippers in that third quarter was 15 points. And now it's 11 going into the fourth. The Suns have got to get that offense continued. The Suns have to have a more consistent offense. They've got to start hitting some 3-pointers if they're going to have any chance in this fourth quarter. And the Clippers need to continue their hot streak going into the fourth and continue to play that tight defense. The Suns have to step up defensively, and they need to show the same hustle that the Clippers are showing right now. As Ty Lue, the head coach of the Clippers, is being interviewed, he's done a great job for this team. Much better, honestly, than Doc Rivers, not really taking much shots at him, but still. Ty Lue's made what adjustments need to be done, like taking out Batum, putting in Patrick Beverley, putting in Zubac in the starting lineup, and it's paid dividend tonight. We are just about underway here in this fourth quarter, and here we go. Suns down by 11. They need a run here to take a 3-0 lead in these conference finals as Booker kicks it out to Cam Johnson. Torrey Craig comes up with it. And here is Craig on the drive. Craig puts up a wild floater. George with another rebound. He's had a double-double. Clippers looking for the big Game 3 win to stay in the series in the conference finals. And in their first ever conference finals game, Kennard! Count it! 3-1! It's money in the corner for Luke Kennard. The 4-point play possibility for the sharpshooter Kennard in that corner. The corner 3-ball specialist makes a big 3-pointer, and you count it. Wow. Clippers back-to-back difficult 3-pointers. Fouled by Sarge there. And this crowd has gone crazy all of a sudden, as you see Kawhi in his office up there, clapping along. And that lead is back up to 15 for the Clippers, 84-69. Huge shot there to continue the momentum. Chris Paul has got to weather the storm. He's done it before in the conference finals with my Rockets, as Sarge kicks it out to Cam Johnson in his corner. Sarge being guarded by Batum. 2 foreigners going at it. Sarge lays it up and in. Nice floater there to go in. Much needed offense there. 84-71 Clippers. Full house here in Staples. They're on their feet. Here's Terrence Mann with a spin. Finds Morris Sr., Paul George. Nice ball movement here. And here's Kennard. Continuous ball movement. Here's Terrence Mann. Shot clock is down to 2. He falls to the ground, and it's a kick ball. as Chris Paul also takes a tumble to the ground. Chris Paul has got to step up. You know, he's one of the best players in clutch time. He was last year. He's got to get it done now. As both of them fall to the ground, it's kickball. As here is Paul George. George crossover. George being guarded by Crowder. Crowder's done a good job on him. And here's Morris. Down to 3. Morris! That time! It's contagious, the 3-point shot right now for LA. Look at them exploding from the line. 87-71. Clippers. Look at the lead. It's ballooned to 16 points. Marcus Morris joins the party from 3 ball over Booker. Look at Morris Sr. And that 3-point percentage has gone up to 33% for the Clippers now. Marcus Morris is 8 points off the bench, outscoring the Suns 41-23 in this second half. Here's Booker on the drive. That's blocked. Here's Paul George in the fast break. George gives it to Man, who puts it up and in, but there's a foul there. Looks to be on Jay Crowder, who's done a really great job on Paul George in this game so far. George going to head to the line for 2 more free throws. Like I said, Paul George hasn't really shot the best from the free throw line, only 80%. As this was a 2-on-1 here. And Crowder just quickly fouls Paul George there. That's probably Crowder's 4th foul there for Crowder. There's also 4 on Booker, 3 on Paul. As we hear MVP chants in Staples for Paul George, who has really done impressive tonight. He's played really, really well. 23 points. Make it 24. And the lead is now 17. Probably going to make it 18 here. The Clippers have taken a commanding control of this game 3. And Clipper magic continues when they're down 2-0. It's like they just do it. When 2-0, the light just turns on. Lead is now 18 for the Clippers, 89-71. Clippers on top here. 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Here's Chris Paul, throws it up. Aiden throws it down. Nice play there. Pick and roll. Or high screen and roll. Under 10 to go. George, main ball handler here for the Clippers. He fakes. Almost loses it. Is doubled. Finds an open Kennard. Kennard, another 3-pointer! Rattles almost in. And Chris Paul up ahead. Paul, 3-pointer. He's fouled. He should have been fouled. But he makes the 3-point shot. CP3. How about that? He should have been fouled there. I've seen that plenty of times. Chris Paul fell to the ground. He makes a big 3-pointer there. The lead is down to 13 all of a sudden. And guess what? Paul George has turned the ball over. The Suns may have a late run in them here. Chris Paul leading the charge all of a sudden. It's 89-76 Phoenix. 9 to go here in this 4th. And here's Chris Paul on the drive. Chris Paul floats it, won't go. Aiden inside. Aiden, Cam Johnson can't control it. Here is Booker at top of the key. Booker on the drive. Booker can't lead him. Aiden with a tip in. And it's 11 now. The lead for the Clippers. It was just 18 just like a minute ago. Look at this, 89-78 Clippers. I mean, it was 89-71. I mean, you just saw that. They're on a 7-0 run, the Suns. They're going to have one less gaps in them. And it's gotten for real here late. The Suns fighting. They're still bright here in game 3. Wow, guys, just wow. It's been back and forth here. Game of runs. It's 11 for the Clippers, the lead. Under 9 to go in the 4th. Paul George has 25 points. Chris Paul and Devin Booker each have 13, combined 26 points in the backcourt for the Phoenix Suns, as they trail by 11 here. Chris Paul leading the charge, turned it into a ball game here. Gotta stick around. Be sure to hit the like if you haven't already and subscribe to my channel. Almost there to 300 subscribers. I'd appreciate it if you could help me get to that 300. And I got you covered for NBA as well. You're about to be coming back from the break, guys. It's going to be a great finish. You got to stick around here. And we are back. Monty Williams, great head coach for the Suns. He drew up in a fantastic play in game 2. As you are back under 9 to go, here's Zubac, Reggie Jackson, Paul George. 3 starters in the game, and that's a tip. That's a block. And there's Aiden who gives it to Chris Paul up ahead. Here's Paul. Finds Jay Crowder open 3-pointer. It's big. You got it. Jay Crowder a 3-pointer, and it's under 10, 89 to 81. Clippers on top by 8. Phoenix on a 10-0 run these last 2 minutes. As Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris in the back. We also have Kennard, Zubac, and George on the court for the Clippers. As look at Reggie Jackson navigating traffic. Zubac can't put it in. And that is Phoenix ball. Look at these Suns. They're still fighting. They're still very, very bright in this game. Bright as the sun right now. In this game, only down by 8 here. Plenty of time to go here in this fourth quarter. Chris Paul has been really leading this charge here. Big 3-pointers by Crowder and Chris Paul. And DeAndre Ayton has really helped. Chris Paul, 3-pointer! Won't go that time. Tries a sidestep 3-pointer. And Kennard gets the board. And here's Paul George. Once again, George on the drive. Oh, he throws Cam Johnson to the ground. George can't finish, though. And the Suns once again have another possession. Look at them stepping up. They're stepping up defensively as look at Booker navigating through a screen there by Ayton. Being guarded by Zubac, the bigger. Look at Paul. Look at Booker! Oh, man, he's swooped by Zubac. And it's a 6-point game all of a sudden. Look at Devin Booker lighting up. 12-0 run for the Suns. 89 to 83. As we have Paul George kicks it out to Kennard. And Paul George in the post, being guarded by Booker. Shot clock is down to 3. That's a turnover. And Crowder just cannot come up with it. And Phoenix has another chance, another possession here. Only down by 6. They can make it 3 or 4 as Booker lays it up and then blasts past Zubac there. Nice move. Devin Booker heating up here. And he's delivering right now. Big moments. 15 points for Devin Booker here in this late fourth quarter. Down by 6. Suns ball. Chris Paul inbounds it to Ayton. Gives it to Booker. Booker tries to draw the foul and he turns it over. And here's Reggie Jackson up ahead. Reggie Jackson. And that's good. Off glass, Jackson. Then it's back to 8. 6.5 here to go in this fourth quarter. Game 3 between the Suns and Clippers, Western Conference Finals. Chris Paul here, being guarded by George. Ayton sets a screen. Chris Paul navigating being guarded by the bigger Zubac. Shot clock is down to 3. Chris Paul, tough three-pointer, won't go. That's a tough shot there. That was way off. And Paul George comes up with it. But George, Reggie Jackson, open three-pointer. It's big! Swish! Reggie Jackson! Big shot, Reggie! And it's 94 to 83. The lead has jumped back up to 11. It's been a game of runs in game 3, and the Clippers have jumped back up to 11. The Suns made it down to 6. Defense by Pat Bev. He's played good against Devin Booker and Reggie Jackson. Personal 5-0 run. And it's back up to 11 for these Clippers, trying to win their first ever game in the Western Conference Finals. I can't tell you how good Reggie Jackson has been in these playoffs. It's unreal. He is so clutch, man. He is just big-time clutch for this Clippers team. You know, the unheard MVP right now is Reggie Jackson. He has 18 points. 2 out of 4 from the free throw line. 2 out of 6 from 3. And we have a timeout on the court, 94 to 83 Clips. Final 6 minutes here in this fourth quarter. Clippers up by 11. I think the Clippers may have gotten this game. We'll see what happens. And they're answering every run that Phoenix has shown here in this fourth quarter. So what's your guys' prediction? Who do you think is going to finish this game out here? I think Clips might have gotten it here. And we're back. If you don't know, Game 4 is going to be on Saturday, 8 p.m. on ESPN at Staples Center in LA between these Suns and Clippers Western Finals. As Suns have possession here, Booker and Chris Paul only shot 25% combined from the field. Under 6 to go. Clutch time here. Game 3. As here's Booker. Booker navigating. Morris being guarded. Look at that beautiful step back. Too strong though. Patrick Beverley comes up with it. He's played so great defensively. Clippers trying to close it out here, up by 11. 5.5 to go. Reggie Jackson, the point guard, handling right now. Zubac says the screen. Jackson, three-pointer! Short. And here's Chris Paul. Chris Paul's got to score here, put this team on his back right now. Chris Paul throws it up. Aiden can't throw it down, though. Could have been a foul call there. As George is thrown to the ground, it's Suns ball. Nice play there from Chris Paul. He's sneaky good defensively. And he gets a steal on Paul George. Chris Paul inbounding. Here is Booker on a run. Booker. That's a wild floater. That's too strong. Crowder quickly fouls Pat Bev. That's his fifth. He's one away. They're not shooting good today at all, the Suns. This honestly just might be a bad shooting night for the Suns. Only shooting 38% from the field, 31% from three. They've done pretty solid otherwise, but we'll see. 5 minutes to go here. Here's Reggie Jackson. Finds George. George open for three. He didn't take it, though. As Zubac finds George being guarded by Crowder. Crowder has 5. And that's a 6th. They just gave 6 on Jay Crowder. And he's out of the ball game. Crowder's got to chill. He may be called for a T here as well. I think that's already a 6th foul, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's a foul on Crowder. He's gone. Jay Crowder's picked up his 6th, and he's got to go sit on the bench. He's out of here. Clearly a foul there on Paul George. Crowder's been playing some really tight, tough defense. I really like that, but getting too many fouls, and that's a 6th. They really need his shot-making three-pointers and that tough defense. He kind of reminds me, if any of you guys are Rockets fans, kind of reminds me of that PJ Tucker to that Rockets team. He's so important. Crowder fouls out with 9 points in 29 minutes for Jay Crowder. As Paul George heads to the line, 2 free throws, hits the first. Paul George doing solid from the free throw line today. 5 out of 6 from the free throw line, 26 points. And gonna make it 6 out of 7 there. The leads increase to 13 for now for the Clippers, 96 to 83 Clippers. Under 5 to go. Officially clutch time here in Staples Center. Phoenix trying to make it a 3-0 lead as Paul kicks it out. Finds Bridges, open three-pointer in the corner. That time it won't go. Shots aren't going in. Paul George, another rebound. Look at George. He's really doing well. That's 15 rebounds for Paul George as Clippers trying to run the clock out here. Reggie Jackson. The crowd's on their feet. They're clapping. Nice screen set by Zubac. There is Reggie Jackson. That floater is short. And here's Chris Paul. Paul on the drive. Fakes. Being guarded by Beverly. Beverly up close. 4 to go here. Cameron Johnson sets the screen. Now Paul George switches on it. Marcus Morris switches on him. Chris Paul, step back, mid-range jumper. Won't get the roll. And Zubac gets the rebound. That's another one for Zubac. That Zubac 16th rebound is Reggie Jackson. Finds Paul George open. Three-pointer. That's off. Zubac can't get it inside. Bridges with the rebound. And here's Booker is fouled by Patrick Beverly. Booker on the drive. Pat Beverly. That's only his 2nd foul on Patrick Beverly, surprisingly. He has 3 points. $96 to 83 Clippers. 3:40 to go in this 4th quarter. Clippers in the bonus. Terrence Mann is checked back into the ball game. Marcus Morris has checked out. As that was some really great defense. As you take a look at his brother, Markieff Morris. Come to watch his twin. The Suns have been stuck at 83 for some time. As look at Booker on the drive. Bridges open three-pointer. Finally! Hits it! Mikal Bridges, a big shot. And the Suns have scored their points finally. 96 to 86. 10-point lead for the Clippers. 3 to go here. Can the Clippers hold on? And win a game here. As Zubac sets the screen, Paul George on the drive. George finds Jackson. Jackson will take it, and it makes it! Reggie Jackson, 3-ball. That's down the hoop, and it's 99-86. Clippers. There's Aiden. Aiden lays it up, and a nice feed from Chris Paul. 99-88 Clippers. Under 3 minutes to go here. Every time the Suns score, the Clippers have an answer. Reggie Jackson drives. Doesn't have room, but anyway, he lays it up and in, and the crowd is following him. That's 100 for the Clippers. 101-88. Look at 13-point lead for the Clippers. 2.5 here to go. Here's Chris Paul. The Suns have got to score on every possession, and they turn it over. Nice play defensively by Paul George. Here's man. Finds Beverly. Corner three-pointer. Oh, yes! Patrick Beverly. Three-pointer. And it's loud here in Staples. And it's a 16-point lead for these Clippers. Looking good here in Game 3 in front of the home crowd. Look at these Clippers. They've come out insane this second half. I mean, it's unbelievable. Plus 18 in this second half for the Clippers. Up by 16. It's unbelievable. I mean, they've come out with a mission here in the second half. Great adjustments made by Ty Lue. I mean, nobody scored 20 points for the Suns yet. They only have 88 points. This is some great defense by the Clippers. And Paul George and Reggie Jackson. George is 27. Jackson is 23. I can't tell you how big Reggie Jackson has been throughout these playoffs. And he's been really energizing this crowd as well. 23 points, 3 3-pointers, big-time shots. Patrick Beverly feels it, and he makes it. That's his second 3-pointer. These Clippers have done everything right in this second half, honestly. Played some great lockdown defense. And they're well on their way to winning their first ever game in the Western Conference Finals. Crowd's on their feet here for the final two. 104-88 LA at home. Chris Paul mid-range jumper, good. Nails it. But leads down to 14, 104-90. The Suns have got to continue to get stops and score every possession. But it's still very unlikely here. As Reggie Jackson continues to ball handle here. Zubac trying to set the screen. Finds open. Patrick Beverly in the corner. Beverly, shot clock is down to 2. Beverly. Oh! Floater! It's good! Patrick Beverly now is 8 in the game. 5-0 run for Pat Bev here late. Big time buckets as Chris Paul draws the foul on Terrence Mann right there. Terrence Mann. That's Terrence Mann's 4th foul. I mean, look at Patrick Beverly. I mean, when he's feeling it and the crowd's behind him, that's when he'll start making his shots. I mean, he feeds off that energy. Both teams are now in the bonus as Pat Bev going to check out here. Feeling it. Minute and a half here to go in Game 3. Clippers continue to fight, and Patrick Beverly has been a huge part of that in the starting lineup. Playing that defense is Paul George. He's going to check out. Starters one by one checking out here as Clippers looking to get a huge win in Game 3 tonight. As Kawhi Leonard looks on with his family up in the box. Paul George checking out. Great game for him as substitutions are in now for the final minute 30 of this ball game. It's been a good one here tonight, but the Clippers have absolutely taken control of this game. And they've stayed alive in this series now. As all the bench players have come in for both teams. for this final minute. Great job by the Clippers here in this third and fourth quarters. As Kennard, a three-pointer, won't go. Sarge gets it back up ahead to Torrey Craig. As that's a shot, won't go. That's a rebound. And Kennard has the basketball. Under a minute to go here. As the crowd really feeling this victory here tonight. It was a really big one here. Everyone chipped in. 4 starters with 20 points. Kennard, that won't go. As here's Craig. Craig gonna try a three-pointer. Won't go. And that they're gonna dribble it out here in Staples Center. The Clippers get one of the biggest victories of their franchise here in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. The Clippers 102, Suns 92. Clippers 106, Suns 92. Excuse me. That is your final score here in LA. And the Clippers have got a game here in this Western Finals, and they stay alive. Phoenix still leads the series 2-1. Hope you enjoyed the stream. As the Suns take a tough loss here, couldn't shoot well at all. Just couldn't get that offense consistent. And the Clippers played some really, really great defense. The adjustments worked out for Ty Lue, getting Patrick Beverley and Zubac in the starting lineup. Paul George put up a great performance. He had 27 points. Reggie Jackson with some clutch buckets, 23 points. Zubac with 15. And Terrence Mann with 12. Patrick Beverley coming in late. And this team, the Clippers, man, do they know how to rebound here? Do they know how to rebound here in these playoffs? Down 2-0 again. They get another victory in Game 3. Continue the comebacks for LA. It is sure playoffs our way for the Clippers. Going down 2-0, that's their way. And they're still alive here in Game 3. We've got a series. Hope you enjoyed this stream. I'm your host, Manav. I hope you enjoyed. Please go down, hit the like, subscribe, enable notifications. Big Clippers win here. And I hope to see you in the next live stream. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.